Everything about how you approach your life begins to change. You have been reaching for your dream, working toward it, chasing it, waiting for the day it might finally arrive at your door. And in all that reaching, you have missed the one movement that would have brought it to you long ago. You have not yet dared to assume that you are the person who lives it. Your dream is not a place you travel to. Your dream is a state you occupy. And until you occupy it inwardly, the visible world has nothing to reflect. The dream you carry has always had one requirement, and it is not the requirement you were taught. You were taught that dreams require effort, sacrifice, endless striving to earn what you desire. But the deeper law says something else entirely. Your dream requires an assumption. It requires that you take up residence, quietly and completely, in the consciousness of the wish fulfilled, long before the physical world offers you a single piece of evidence. This is the law that shapes every life, whether we know it or not. We are always assuming. We assume we are struggling, and struggle appears. We assume we are unloved, and love withdraws. We assume the road is hard, and hardness meets us at every turn. The outer world does not decide what we experience. It confirms what we have already assumed within. So the question is not, how do I get my dream to arrive? The question is, what am I currently assuming about myself, about my life, about what is possible for me? Because whatever you are assuming, the visible world is already busy arranging itself to match. Let me put it plainly. Every dream has a corresponding state of consciousness. There is a particular inner posture, a way of feeling, a way of thinking, a way of being that belongs to the person who lives that dream. And that inner posture is not something you earn after the dream arrives. That inner posture is the very thing that causes the dream to arrive. You must occupy it first. You must be it before you can see it. Most people do the opposite. They wait for evidence before they will assume. They say to themselves, when I see it, I will believe it. When it appears, I will feel it. When the money is in my account, I will feel wealthy. When the relationship is here, I will feel loved. When the body is healed, I will feel well. And so they wait, and they wait. And the visible world, obedient as always, gives them exactly what they have assumed, a life of waiting. But the one who understands the law reverses the order. The one who understands does not wait to see. They assume first. They feel first. They occupy the end state first. And having occupied it inwardly, they walk through the visible world as if the dream were already accomplished. Because inwardly for them, it already is. Let me tell you what I mean by an assumption, because this word is so often misunderstood. An assumption is not a wish. An assumption is not a hope. An assumption is not an affirmation you repeat while secretly doubting. An assumption is a settled inner conviction, a quiet knowing. The same kind of knowing you have that your name is your name. You do not affirm your name to yourself 20 times a day. You do not hope your name is your name. You simply know it. You assume it. And because you assume it, the entire visible world confirms it back to you. That is the tone of a true assumption. Not effortful, not desperate, not loud, settled, quiet, certain, as natural as breathing. And here is what the law says, in words worth carrying with you. An assumption, though at first it may seem false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. That is the mechanism. That is the whole teaching in a single line. You dare to assume the state of the wish fulfilled. You persist in that assumption. And the physical world, having no choice, hardens around it until it becomes your visible reality. Now think about your dream for a moment. Really think about it. Not the outer trappings of it, the money, the house, the partner, the freedom, but the person inside it. Who is that person? What do they feel like on an ordinary morning? What is their inner atmosphere? What thoughts move through them naturally? What worries no longer occupy them? What confidence lives in them that does not yet live in you? That person is not a stranger. That person is you, seen from a different assumption. That person is the you who has taken up a different state of consciousness and refused to leave it. That person is not somewhere in the future. That person is available to you the moment you dare to assume you already are them. This is what it means to live in the end, not to imagine the end as an event, to occupy the end as a state, to rise in the morning and move through your day from the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, to speak from that place, to act from that place, to respond to the world from that place, not as performance, not as pretending, as a quiet inner residency in the state you have chosen. And here is where so many stumble. They visit the state for a moment, then leave it. They imagine the fulfilled dream for a few minutes in the morning, then spend the rest of the day rehearsing the old self, the old worries, the old identity. And they wonder why the visible world will not change. But the visible world cannot change while your inner residency keeps moving. It must have somewhere stable to reflect. Persistence in the new state is what causes the outer to yield. Assumption is not a technique you perform. Assumption is a home you move into. Let me speak now of the state akin to sleep, because this is where the deepest work is done. There is a moment each night, just before you fall into sleep, when the mind grows drowsy, the body grows still, and the ordinary chatter of the day begins to quieten. In that soft, hushed, half-dreaming state, the imagination is unusually receptive. Whatever you assume in that moment, whatever you feel to be true, whatever scene you occupy, whatever inner conversation you carry, sinks deep into consciousness and begins its silent work. If you would become the person your dream life requires, use this hour well. Do not carry the day's worries into that threshold. Do not fall asleep rehearsing what you fear. Enter the state of the wish fulfilled. Feel yourself already living it. Imagine a small scene that would only be true if the dream were already accomplished. A friend congratulating you, a partner turning to you with love, a moment of standing in the place you long to reach, and occupy that scene from within, as if you were there. Feel the reality of it. Feel the naturalness of it. Let it be so ordinary that no doubt can rise to protest it. Then let sleep take you. This is not a small practice, my friends. This is one of the most powerful acts a human being can perform. Because in that softened state, the assumption you make is not fought by the surface mind. It slips past every doubt and settles into the deeper waters where reality is formed. And the following day, and the day after, the visible world begins to arrange itself around what you have assumed. Now let me speak of something the seeker often misses. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, the outer world does not always change immediately in the way you expected. Sometimes what changes first is the bridge, the set of unlikely events that begin to move you from where you are to where the assumption has placed you. This is what I call the bridge of incidents, a conversation you did not plan, a message that arrives from someone you had not thought of in years, an idea that comes to you in the shower, a door that opens through a route you could not have foreseen. These are not coincidences. These are the visible world reorganizing itself around the assumption you have made. The bridge appears because the destination has been set inwardly, and your only task, once you have assumed, is to walk the bridge without arguing with its unfamiliar shape. Do not demand that your dream arrive by the route you imagined. The route is not your business. The state is. Hold the state, and let the bridge appear in whatever form it will. Now let me tell you something that will save you years of wasted effort. Do not try to change the outer while your inner assumption remains the same. It cannot be done. You may push and strive and rearrange the visible world all you like, but if inwardly you are still assuming lack, still assuming struggle, still assuming that the dream is far from you, then every outer change you achieve will soon collapse back into the shape of your assumption. The outer world cannot hold a shape the inner world has not agreed to. Change the assumption, and the outer changes almost without your effort. Refuse to change the assumption, and no amount of effort will hold the shape you are trying to build. This is why the person who has understood the law seems to move through life with an ease that others find inexplicable. They are not working harder. They are not more talented. They are not luckier. They have simply learned to place their attention inward, at the seat of causation, rather than outward, at the field of effects. They change the assumption, and they let the visible world do what it has always done: reflect. Now, my friends, I want to speak of the old self, because you cannot enter the new state while clinging to the old identity. The person who lives your dream life is not the person you have been. Not because the person you have been is bad, because the person you have been has been assuming a smaller version of you. Every day you have been assuming things about yourself, that you are the one who struggles, that you are the one who cannot quite, that you are the one who has always been unlucky, or unloved, or unseen, or behind. These assumptions are not truths. These assumptions are habits of consciousness. And habits, though they may feel like reality, can be dropped the moment you decide to occupy a different state. To become the person your dream life requires, you must gently release the assumption that you are still the one you have been. You must dare to say, quietly and inwardly, I am the one who lives this life now, not as boast, not as performance, as a quiet inner declaration to yourself, made in the privacy of your own consciousness, and repeated until it becomes as natural as your own name. This is where the practice of revision belongs. When something happens in the visible world that does not match your new assumption, a difficulty, a disappointment, an old pattern reappearing, do not accept it as final evidence. Return in imagination to the scene and revise it. See it as it would have been if the dream were already true. Feel the revised version. Let it settle, and return to your assumption unshaken. The visible world is not the final word. Your assumption is. And every revised scene is a repair to the fabric of the state you are building. Now let me speak of feeling, because feeling is the secret of all of this. It is not the words you say to yourself that create. It is not the images you form. It is the feeling behind them, the felt sense of already having, already being, already living the state. Feeling is the substance in which assumption takes root. If you can find the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even for a few minutes at a time, and return to that feeling again and again through the day, you are doing the deepest work there is. You are not affirming from outside the state. You are living from within it. You are giving the visible world the one thing it needs in order to reshape itself, a consistent inner feeling to reflect. Many people ask, but how do I feel what I have not yet experienced? And the answer is closer than they realize. You have imagination. You have memory. You have the capacity to place yourself in your mind into a moment that has not yet happened in the visible world, but is entirely real in consciousness. Sit with the scene. Enter it. Feel the naturalness of being there. That felt sense is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And it is enough. It is more than enough. It is the very engine of the law. Now think for a moment of how much of your life has been spent assuming what you did not want, assuming the worst about a situation before it unfolded, assuming disappointment before the answer arrived, assuming rejection before the meeting had even begun. And notice how faithfully the visible world confirmed what you had inwardly agreed to. The same law is available in the other direction. Assume the outcome you desire with the same quiet inner certainty you once gave to your fears, and the visible world will confirm this just as faithfully. The law does not choose your assumption for you. It only fulfills whatever assumption you have made your home. So choose the assumption worthy of you. Choose the assumption that matches the dream you carry, not the fear you inherited. Choose the assumption of the fulfilled wish, not the assumption of the endless waiting. Choose the assumption of the person you are called to be, not the assumption of the one you happen to have been. And then persist. Persist through the appearances that seem to contradict you. Persist through the days when the visible world offers no confirmation. Persist through the doubt that visits the mind and tries to pull you back into the old state. Persistence is the whole secret of the seasoned practitioner, not intensity, not force. Persistence, the quiet, patient, unshakable refusal to leave the state of the wish fulfilled, no matter what the physical world seems to be reporting, because the physical world always reports what was assumed a moment ago, an hour ago, a week ago, a year ago. It is a delayed reflection. And when you change your assumption, there is a small stretch of time in which the visible world is still showing you the previous inner arrangement. Do not be discouraged by that. Do not read it as a verdict. It is only the echo of what you used to assume. Hold the new state, persist, and the visible world will catch up. It always catches up. It has no choice. The one who lives your dream life does not doubt this. The one who lives your dream life has become so settled in their inner state that outer contradictions do not shake them. That is what you are being invited to grow into. Not more effort, more residency, more steadiness in the state you have chosen, more depth of assumption. Now let me leave you with the simplest expression of the whole teaching, so that you can carry it with you. You do not have to become the person your dream life requires through years of striving. You become that person by daring to assume you already are them, and by refusing to leave that assumption no matter what appears in the visible world. The becoming happens in consciousness first. The outer world follows, always, without exception. The person who lives your dream is not far away. That person is not on the other side of a decade of hard labor. That person is on the other side of a single, quiet, persistent assumption. Take it up, feel it, live from within it, fall asleep in it, wake in it, move through your day in it. And watch, my friends, as the visible world begins to yield, first in small signs, then in gathering evidence, then in the full unfolding of the life you have already agreed to inwardly. This is the law that shapes every human life, understood or not. Neville taught it clearly a lifetime ago, and it has not changed since. Assumption becomes fact. What you dare to assume within, persistently and with feeling, must appear without. So dare, my friends. Dare to assume you are the one who lives the dream. Dare to feel it now, before the world has caught up. Dare to persist in it when appearances argue otherwise. Dare to fall asleep in it, and rise in it, and return to it 100 times a day. Because the moment you truly assume the state, quietly, settledly, without needing anyone's permission, the visible world begins the work of confirming what you have already agreed to. You do not have to become the person your dream requires. You have to assume you already are. And in that assumption, held with the quiet certainty of one who already knows, the whole visible world begins to move to meet you.